Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video. Thought about doing this for a while and just wanted to kind of give my take on a lot of thoughts that I've been having and trying to analyze what the hell is going on with my head as far as this subject goes. And I have changed my mind as far as what I want to do, but for a while I was contemplating quitting music altogether, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So I guess I could go into my history of the frustration that I've had with it within these subjects, and in this video, if I can do so. And what basically, so this is not part of my History of Metal series, by the way, because I wanted to cut that off actually like at the early 2000s, so this doesn't include this subject. But I formed a band when I was 24 years old, and so the drummer who I was having, like, I used to have, well, just kind of communication issues. We're kind of young and, you know, had our own ideas about music and so forth, and that kind of conflicted, but it did create some decent music at times. So that's one thing that was interesting. And then we got various other guitarists, and at the time, well, the first thing that I joined was a cover band back in the day before I met this drummer, or no, when I met this drummer, I'm sorry. God, I messed that up, I'm sorry. I met that drummer, and then we tried to form a band, and the singer left for his girlfriend across the country, and we didn't form a band. We were friends. We went to shows and stuff once in a while. We were kind of in school together a little bit, so we tried to jam, and we got this guitarist, and then I joined this other band, this cover band, for a couple months, got kicked out. My amp blew up about 4 times because I had a crate at the time, notoriously fickle crate GFX 212, which is I had to get the capacitors fixed at the time because it would smoke because I would put it too loud, and because it just did not, it was not a tube amp. So I subsequently learned about amps from another guitarist that was kind of had kind of an air of arrogance about him at the time, but maybe I would perceive him differently if I saw what he was saying back then, if I could remember some of that. But he was correct, for the most part, in talking about that shitty amp. So I got a PV Butcher, and then I got a Phoebe 5150, and that was about it, because at that point in time, after I got kicked out of the band, so we formed the band. We got this singer that was very polarizing, to say the least, to replace our other singer. And then we started writing songs, and some of those songs are actually on some Pathless Land records, like Pool of Sears, Lucid Skies. Those are the only 2 I redid. I was going to do some more. And we called it Cyclic Creation. That's what we called it. And we played some shows around. We got a little bit of buzz because we had a female singer, and it was kind of interesting for that kind of band. Looking back on some of the material that we wrote back then, I'm not as enamored of it as I could be at this point in time. So for one, the reason for that being is that we kind of just jumbled riffs together and had the singer kind of sing to vocal melodies that we would write, and they were an afterthought a lot of the time. Now, whereas nowadays, sometimes I'll come up with lyrics or a vocal melody first and then write the music around it, or kind of match the 2 together, or do a little bit of both, or whatever. So that's kind of the change that I've made in my life as far as music writing, music composing. So back then, the songs, there's a couple of songs I really like. There's one song I do want to redo, actually, that being Pool of Sears. I wrote some new riffs recently and some new kind of parts to make it a little better. I just thought it was kind of monotone in a certain way, if that makes any sense. There's some good stuff in there, but it's just kind of a blur of stuff. So I started to write more melodic songs as time went on, but we broke up. So basically why we broke up was not a multitude, but a few big reasons. Our bass player, who was one of my best friends in high school that we had recruited into the band, even though he never played in a band before, and he really became adept at bass. Really good bass player. I wish he still played bass. I don't think he plays music anymore. He decided to go to law school, so he moved across country for that. The singer that we had at the time, who was that original singer, by the way, the male singer, he decided to join the Army, and I was preoccupied with self-help and pickup artist books and stuff, and trying to, even though I was almost 300 pounds at the time, which I'm not, thankfully, but and very socially awkward. I didn't really do anything for years with regards to that subject, but I would preach from the rooftop about how this will save your life, and it was kind of like a cult kind of thing. I've already done videos about that. So those three compounding factors, and the drummer and I not getting along at the time necessarily, and then in the best ways, and then losing the other singer too, which created kind of a negative vibe, resulted in one show, and then we went our separate ways at that point in time. And then I decided to finish some of the recordings that we had lying around, that we were going to do another demo, because we had another demo, kind of a demo and a half, if that makes any sense, because it was like a re-recorded songs and then an extra song in this other demo that we did, that we gave out at Prog Power at the time. And I finished it as Tempest Eternal, which was the name that the original singer wanted to use, and we had other songs that he recorded his vocals on in a very rushed fashion, and they were a lot of difficulty to work with, honestly. I wasn't really the best producer, of course, either, and I still am not, but especially with mixing and mastering. But a few songs turned out okay, and a few songs turned out more mediocre, because I was working with a lot of weird files, and we had that falling out, and I still released it even though we had the falling out. It's just kind of one of those things that an asshole guitarist would do in a band. It wasn't for sale, but I pressed CDR copies at a pressing place, and gave it out to people and stuff. So I actually had an ex-girlfriend that was impressed by it. She's like, I didn't expect this. She gave me a lot of compliments. It was kind of insulting that she didn't it was one of those situations I didn't know you could do this, kind of one of those things. It was a little bit kind of a backhanded compliment, but that's fine. What's going on here? As long as it's still recording. So that's kind of what happened with that, what drove that. So the drummer in question, who I'm playing a band with again now, but ironically enough, we both decided to kind of mend the broken bridge, not a broken bridge, but whatever you want to call it, and decided to give Tempest Eternal another chance. So we got another singer. And my idea at the time, I was getting into bands, some of the newer bands. I was very happy about the resurgence of metal. And also I did some of the more progressive kind of metalcore bands at that point, between the Buried and Me and stuff like that. And I wanted to kind of appeal to a younger audience, just not play. It wasn't me selling out. I just liked some of that stuff, and I wanted to kind of incorporate that, and thought, hey, there's these new bands like Protest the Hero, or even Necrophagus, just not metalcore, but just have a mixture of different styles and power metal, kind of stuff mixed in, and that's kind of my vision, extreme metal and traditional metal and progressive metal kind of mixed together. It still is kind of some of my songs kind of go that route sometimes. So we got a singer, and we got this other guitarist that I didn't really get the right impression of, because he did not like the songs we were doing, and there was various other issues that I just didn't. I liked some of his riffs, don't get me wrong. In fact, that comes into play in a few minutes here. So I liked his style. I don't know leads, that was just because of that wasn't because of the phone, by the way. I'm phone, you shouldn't be recording. I have a little thing that's placed on. It was just with traffic, got a little weird there. So it was. So there was an accident, I guess that's why. So it wasn't because of. It was because, I wanted to get better leads, and I kind of voiced that a couple times, and I think I said it in a weird way where I wasn't going to write anymore. So I think they took it the wrong way eventually, and it kind of became like a weird, like, self-fulfilling prophecy. Not self-fulfilling prophecy. It became like kind of this weird thing that I said, and then it got interpreted a certain way, which I sort of half-heartedly said it, but didn't really mean it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. So I wasn't going to write anything anymore, and that was kind of explicitly told to me in a certain way when drunk and high. Not me, but some of the other members. And I was aghast at that, so I played one more show with them, and that was it for me, and they changed their name to Wake and Prevail. And they went on for a while, and because at the time, Pathless Land was a concept that I had registered a MySpace for. It was going to be like this spacey instrumental metal project. Because I had a song, Journey to Pathless Land, which is still... Oh, that's the song I should redo, by the way, for this new EP. That's a great idea, actually, now that I think about it. Because I do have the drums for it. So, that was... Because I was going to put more and more song on it. It was just like thinking aloud. So that was kind of it for that time, and they were mad about me quitting. I could just tell they were really pissed. But I was, I wanted to do this project. I was determined to do more power metal stuff too, because we had always thought about that. Me and the bass player wanted to do it, the drummer didn't do it, and then me and the bass player and one of the singers wanted to do it for sure, but the drummer did not want to do it. Had arguments over music and styles, and this sucks, this doesn't suck, and immature kind of jabs at each other's music and stuff. So that was just back in the day, of course, and hopefully, I don't know. So that led me to leave and do Pathless Land as a solo thing, which I didn't know what the hell I was doing with a lot of the recording stuff, and I still have a lot of challenges in regards to that. In regards to concentration and trying to get things produced the right way, and I've gone through a lot of, lack of money and technology to get things sounding okay. At times, they do sound quite good, quite okay. So I did sort of a demo thing, or I called it a demo, and I pressed CDRs and stuff the next year. First of all, I wrote some songs that I had, or fully fleshed out some songs that I had from back in the day when I was really into power metal, and I wanted progressive metal in there though too, and like spacey kind of stuff. So I did some songs and stuff, and it didn't really do much. I mean, nobody really. I sang myself at the time, so I was like, okay, I want to sing too, but my voice. I think it's improved since then, obviously. But, it wasn't up to snuff pretty much. I mean, I don't know if the songs were great or not. It just was it fell on deaf ears, quote unquote, for the most part. So I did that, and then I probably already told some of the story before. And then what happened was after that, I just decided to keep going with it. And then I joined another band, which was my friend's band, which is ostensibly, I guess I'm still part of the project or whatever. And we decided to take it live. And I continued to do Pathless Land on the side, still releasing songs and stuff and trying to do stuff. And then we got a guitarist who is no longer wishes to ever talk to me again for whatever reason. Long story, not whatever reason, but over-exaggerated bitch, cuck-ass motherfucker story. Just saying. Sorry to say, because he's doesn't have any balls, so he doesn't want to talk to me or try to hash things out. That's his fucking problem. So anyway, to another kick out that said guitarist. I'm not going to go into that because one of the people is a viewer from my channel. So, and then we had some shows, and then there was one night where I was just hearing all this gear, and we had like 4 people go to the show, and we opened for this band that was pretty cool, actually, and this is a different type of project. It's not metal, by the way. The band I was in, yeah, I can say the name. It's Internet Bad Boys is what it's being called now. But yeah, there was I released some CDRs for that too, like like 100, 200 copy ones of those as well. With like a book, like not a booklet, but like a cover and stuff that I went to this place for. But anyways, I got frustrated and fed up, so I decided to quit. But then we kind of mended the bridge again, with someone else, in this case, and I continued to do stuff with him. But I got more sucked into Pathless Land as time went on, and decided to get a drummer and bass player and get a second guitarist and possible keyboardist. So my friend had this bass player that wanted to play with me, who had severe alcohol issues and anger issues, turns out, and also just some various weird things about him. And I got this other guitarist, and we tried to give it a go with Pathless Land, jammed, and then recorded another demo without that bass player, because he wasn't, we already had recordings that were already almost finished, and I think he was trying to get me into this other band too, the bass player, which I didn't want to join. Maybe I should have, I don't know, looking back. But then the guitarist did the same thing that other singer did, and went across country for another woman, and he didn't tell me. And then I was left to my own devices to release more demo songs with him. That demo that he was on, I'm trying to remember if he was still in the state or not at the time when I released it. I can't actually recall the time. No, yeah, he was. And then I released another demo with him still on there. And then I decided I was getting criticized by someone about my vocals, or by various people, actually. So I decided I was going to try to, step back from the mic. Maybe people would like some of this shit. Maybe, if I got another singer. So I got this session singer from Fiverr to do stuff, and I got this, instead of programming drums, I got a drummer to do stuff. And I released, what was eventually, well, what happened with this singer is that he was another session vocalist that disappeared for a while, and I couldn't find him. So I was like, fuck. And then what I decided to do was find another session singer, and I did, and that's who's on these current recordings, is Dives. And the drummer that's on the recordings is the same drummer too that I've been working with for a long time as well, Glenn Wellman. So I did this kind of half-ass mixing of this album. I guess I considered the first full-length album, Alchemy, Mystery, and Mastery. It has a cool-ass cover with this Venezuelan artist as well, who was really cool, and he did the Bloodlines one too. And I released it and pressed about 100 copies of it, of CDs. And then, lo and behold, it's kind of I get more criticism about it from some guy at work who I was working with at the time. Like, yeah, it's like, there's some guy, that one guy did want to join Pathless Land, this guitarist, actually. And he loved Let the Legends Be True, which is on that Alchemy, Mystery, and Mastery. Which I released Let the Legends Be True as a demo as well, which was my vocals and this other Matt guy on vocals. And then, which is actually, I just got Dives to do vocals on that, and we're releasing that on this new release. So, I released stuff on Facebook, I released stuff on YouTube. Some things people liked, sort of. They got a couple of comments. And it's just like, I look for members. Sometimes I got downright insulted by people from these want ads. They just insult my stuff and say it's shitty, doesn't have harmony or groove. One guy said it doesn't have the harmony of Dragon Force. I'm like, oh, okay. Which I found double insulting because I'm not the biggest fan of Dragon Force, and it's like, okay, so this stuff sucks. And this was the Let the Legends Be True Age of Discovery period of the project, because I was doing these demos and I didn't get a session vocalist yet, and so that's probably part of the reason. Now we'll get to more why I'm doing vocals for my next project, of course, soon. Well, you probably already know that I fucking can nail that one person's vocals very well, pretty much. So that's why I'm doing that. But you already know that. So the next thing I did was, Alchemy, and then I did a cover of Bee Gees' Tragedy where I sang. I still sang here and there up until this most current release, which is Bloodlines. I didn't have any vocals on that one. It was all Dives on that one. Or none of Matt Greco was the other guy that sang on some of those demos. Or not demos, some of the last release. So I did that. And, it's like... It's like glazed, and even relatives, it's like, I don't even know how many man hours I've put into this project. And I'm like, it's not going anywhere. I'm not playing shows with it. Nobody's interested in joining this project. There's flakes everywhere that, so the closest, I'll tell you the closest that it became an actual band, Pathless Land, was in early 2020 when I met this singer, who I'm not going to say his name. Respectfully, he is in a power metal band now that's actually pretty good, and I might go see them pretty soon. I like the guy. He was always nice to me. He always complimented me. He always liked my material to some extent. He wanted to do his own thing, but at the same time, it's like, it's cool that he's doing his own thing now, He was never an asshole about any of my stuff. He liked my playing and stuff, and he liked some of my songs. And he had his own songs, and I would have definitely shared the songs and stuff. We were practicing, and then COVID hit, and just things kind of fell out from underneath everything. But we actually jammed Time Will Tell If Our Love Is Gonna Last with a drummer. Me and him singing, me playing guitar. In a different kind of vocal style than what I was envisioning for the project. It's not like Dives, it's not like Mac. It's maybe closer to Matt Greco's, but it's kind of like, try to think of who I would compare him to. I'd have to listen to some of his stuff again. It had kind of almost like I don't know if I would call it pop feel to it sometimes. But, it was kind of an at least back then, I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of his recent material. For a while, his band was advertising and they weren't having any clips. I should probably listen to some of them. But, it was closest to Pathless Land became a live band. Other than, this was closer than the time I had the bass player and the guitarist, because this is real serious person who's in a band now who's playing out. These two other guys, I don't know what the hell happened to them as far as, music. This guy actually did a band, he's playing live, So that's why I say it's the most closest it's gotten to being a real band. And I really liked his take on stuff, I thought he was a cool person and stuff. And we had a lot of agreements about a lot of things. So I was really enthused about that, but it wasn't to be. I respect the guy enough not to diss him, but just like recently, I've been in this cover band, and even that is hard to get shows with. And I did a couple open mics with Pathless Land, pre-recorded music with my guitar playing over it, and I got some cheers and stuff. And then I realized sometimes people don't even listen, if I share it on social media, they won't even fucking listen to it. I've probably released way too many subpar demos for them to even be excited about it anymore or something. I just release everything I do, so it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to that again. That's a new version. That's 10th version. I don't know what it is, but I got really fucking frustrated and really not getting any older, getting any younger. And I just felt like, you know, I even told someone that I was going to quit music in 2 years from, what's that, March of this year, if nothing happens, because I'm done with it. So I'm just like, there's nobody gives a shit. I have relatives in bands, people care about them, and they don't, you know, I'll do an album and nobody will even comment on what they thought of it, you know, or it's like nobody fucking gives a shit about my original music. My cover band played live, we got a lot of compliments, but I bust my fucking ass recording stuff, trying to find session players, trying to do different, you know, mixing. Spend hours. People wonder what I spend my time with. It's not, you know, going chasing women or anything like that, which it should be, but you know, I spend a lot of my time dinking around, of course, but I was joking about the chasing women thing, maybe. So, you know, it's like I'm so sick of just the apathy towards my original music. I almost quit. I was like, you know, maybe in a year, you know, I'll do some more shows with this cover band, and maybe, you know, in a year I'll sell my equipment and just become a monk or something or whatever, and quit music, quit metal for good. Because I feel like nobody, I mean, people do say things, deleting and distorting, that's part of NLP, right? You know, you delete and you distort what people think or say. People don't give a fuck, you know. It seems like they don't, but would people see my band, would people see Pathless Land live if I played live? I'm sure they would, but, you know, I don't get any. There is a relative that, you know, one of my relatives did talk about it and was very complimentary and was very, like, gave me critiques, you know. But when I'd rather be, you know, like, say, yeah, you know, it's, oh, this part's bad, this part's good, you know, I'd rather have that than say, kiss my ass. But I'd rather, what I'd rather have an actual people say, what is this good or this bad? I don't give a fuck if it's not people's thing. That's fine, I understand that, but it just made me really pissed that it's not relatives necessarily, or you know, like J-Dog says, he's like, I would never have my parents go to my show, death metal show, you know, I understand that, but it's just like, I feel like nobody talks about it, nobody fucking cares. Like, there's all these other bands playing here there's a lot more bands playing here that are in similar vein. It's like, is this just a sucky version of it? Are these songs really bad? Should I just stop writing music? It was almost like a certain type of ideation that I can't talk about on here, that I was feeling about at least the project itself. I was like, just destroy itself, you know. It's no longer working, you know. Now let's go into some of the psychology of this, and like, I'm just gonna say, sometimes I won't even give people a disc anymore and stuff, and you know, that's the thing. I don't tell people about my new releases. I feel like, you know, it's maybe a self-fulfilling prophecy because I don't really advertise it all that much. So that's part of, actually, a person that told me that, you know, that I don't do that is also, you know, a person did tell me that I don't really work on that side of it. And it's like, if you expect people to listen to what you say, you have to advertise it, you know. So part of it's just my social awkwardness too. I feel like the town hates me because of all the stuff I said about the Koof sometimes. Like, I'm just this alien, weird fucking person that people hate. This old Hesher, you know, or whatever. Like, old edgelord that people hate, you know, because of my friends that I've made, and, you know, I don't know. It's just this, all these paranoid delusions, you know, I'll just say. Like, this is crazy. But yeah, I thought about quitting music. Like, what's it worth anymore? All this time and energy and money, and borrowed money sometimes too, like reverb stuff, you know, getting a guitar on a Firm, you know, stuff like that. I just felt really bad. Like, people don't give a shit. AI is coming anyways, and, you know, all this stuff. So I got really discouraged, depressed about it, and I felt like, no, I'm not gonna, you know, there's nobody. I mean, people just don't even say anything when I post something to social media a lot of the time. A few people do, the diehards and stuff, but people don't care. You'll see someone else post something and there'll be like, way more responses about, music or so. Oh, that's such a beautiful song, I don't get anything. So usually, I'm not saying that people have to start doing that or something, or else I'll feel depressed. All I'm saying is that when people are busy and stuff, when you do it for years, over a decade, and it just, even the early stuff when it wasn't even, even when stuff is active, I hear stuff, and maybe I'm delusional, but I hear stuff around. People will see it, and it's not that good, but people will compliment it on social media and otherwise. People will compliment it. And I'm not saying that I'm the bee's knees. I'm not. But there's stuff that's way worse that gets a lot more acclaim than the stuff that I release. With a singer, I paid hundreds of dollars towards, because he's actually a singer. He's actually in bands in Venezuela. There's another Venezuelan. He's in bands in Venezuela, and he was actually on like a project with like band members of Exodus, I believe, and some other bands of Hellstar. He's been on some like interesting releases and stuff. So it's like this guy that's acclaimed singer, and people have complimented him, by the way. And then people just don't give a shit. I just post away, and people don't give a shit on various platforms. And I get like 30 views. I get more views on this fucking channel than I've ever had for my music, by the way. And it sounds like I'm a whiny bitch complainer, and it's kind of a rant, just to sit here and say this shit. It's fine. I just felt like saying it because it was on my mind. Because there is a light at the end of the tunnel, obviously. So, and people like to see bands live. They don't want to listen to something if they, I'm sure that some of these people that ignore, friends or relatives for that matter, if they saw me playing live, they'd probably listen to the album or, try to give it a shot or whatever. Oh, that was pretty good. I'm sure that's the case. That's the logic that a lot of people have. If they just some, self-produced CDR that sounds like shit. Oh, yeah, I listened to the first song and turned it off, or even a CD that's actually somewhat professionally produced, which it's closer to now than before. But at the same time, it's like finding band members that aren't, I've had some flakes and I've had some people that were actually good. It's been a pain in the ass. So it's like, what do I do? Give up or double my efforts? I don't know. Or triple my efforts to find people? I don't know. So then, this latest release, sent it to a couple people and gave it to a couple people and posted. And not many people say anything about it. It's fine. Some people do, but it's not, it's a weird release because, some of the production is off. And I'm just like, okay. 6 months pass, there's not really much going on. I decide, maybe it's time to wrap it up. Maybe it's time to quit music. So I decided at one point that I was going to quit music altogether because it's just too much hassle and too much heartbreak from just not, it's one thing being a narcissist and saying people have to give me good reviews and love my band, but it's just like the apathy has gotten out of hand with it, like beyond anything. It's like I don't even exist. I'm invisible. That's what I felt. So I decided to quit, but then I just started to say, there's a lot of things that I'm overlooking with regards to this stuff, and why don't I give it a shot, give it another go? There's unreleased stuff that I want to release anyways. So, and then, after that, I'm like, well, I'm going to try. Give it a double try. Is it that bad? See, part of it, why I don't try to find members, why I don't try to find people and try to promote it is because I feel like things are not perfect with the releases. There's production that's off. There's, stuff that's fucked up or, sounds weird or whatever, because I try to produce as much as possible without paying up the ass on Fiverr. And I don't know what I'm doing some of the time. Honestly, I'll admit that. Why not just, give it, I'm going to give it, I decided to give it another go. Now, I'm releasing one more EP with this project with Pathless Land. And then after that, because there's these songs that people like that have better versions now that I want to advertise for more members with that. That was the whole intention of Bloodlines in the first place, because I want to re-record some stuff, do some new stuff. And then this is kind of the finishing that album. The album was not done in a certain way, because there was some stuff that was, left kind of not up to full potential. But this, I didn't re-record. Some of the songs aren't re-recorded for this one, or not re-recorded, not remastered or remixed, but there are a couple that sound better. So, and then there's some remakes too that I'm doing. So I'm doing one more release with Pathless Land, and that's it. That's not it for Pathless Land. That's it for this incarnation of Pathless Land, because I cannot pay more money when it's kind of just, it's not. There's no momentum, There's nobody knocking at my door wanting to interview me. There's no one, I've had some good reviews on Bandcamp for this latest release, or I had a good review, and more, people following and stuff. Gave me some interesting comparisons and stuff that I still need to check out. So that was one thing that did lift my spirits a little bit about it. Actually, that kind of was the turning point for me, getting that one Bandcamp review where he was saying this is good stuff, was the turning point for me. Not my father listening to it and saying it's great or something or whatever, which, or he loves time will tell, or love is going to last, and not him liking it, and not, people not just basically fucking just blowing it off. That was the turning point, was that review, and I decided that I'm going to continue it and try to continue with it. Now, in regards to music in general, I don't want to quit. I can't quit. I can't fucking quit. I write riffs all the time. Maybe they'll go nowhere. Maybe they'll just be in my living room and on my computer that I record them, or whatever. But I'm still going to do fucking music. I mean, that's just stupid. It's just kind of crazy to quit. Now, that comes back to, I'm kind of coming back around to the original stuff now, because I'm not going to do Pathless Land without an actual vocalist that's not me. But a new project that I have in mind, that I've talked about in one of my previous videos, I definitely am doing vocals. And that's why I've been doing these King Diamond Merciful Fate covers, by the way. I've got in this phase, and me and a friend had these ideas for this kind of King Diamond thing for a while. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what the concept is quite yet. It's not going to be revealed for quite a while. I decided to do another EP this year. If I do this Pathless Land EP, I don't know if this is all going to be done by the end of the year or not. I really want to get, and money is still a problem with mastering and mixing and stuff, but this other project at least, is special because in the late 90s, I would annoy certain friends because I sang so much King Diamond, So that's part of the whole thing with me and this King Diamond thing, King Diamond Merciful Fate thing. If you don't know, Merciful Fate was the band King Diamond was in. Is that I could get so close to his vocals, people. And I'm not saying like it's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily, but it's people were scared, got so close. Now I have problems with it because I have some allergies, and I don't think the weight necessarily helps with some of those notes. I'm getting better at holding my breath, but that's the main problem I have right now. It's kind of his mid-range croon and holding the breath, like some of those really long passages. But I will be doing this project because I thought, after hearing Attic, after hearing Portrait, after hearing In Solitude, and God forsaken fucking Ghost for that matter, Their first album is full of Merciful Fate style riffs, even though the vocals are very different. I'm like, I got to do a band like this, or a project like this at least. So I'm going to be doing this hopefully this year and finishing it up. I already got a song that I wrote. Like I said, I wrote part of a song just impromptu. That's some of my best stuff, people have said, or I will say, I'll just say it. It's just impromptu, me just improvising some weird line, like the Dungeon Master. Pathless Land, the Dungeon Master. It was just me singing in a mall, walking with my friend. I'm like, started making up lines, or certain Internet Bad Boy songs, which I don't necessarily want to give attention to for some of my audience because there's some controversy. But maybe if I had more to lose. if I was going to be canceled, I don't know. Certain songs I've written about, certain situations. I'll just say you can do the detective work yourself. I came up with just impromptu, just walking down the street and stuff. So that's kind of how that works. But yeah, I'm not quitting music. I realize it's a tough battle to get people to give a shit. It's not only people I know that don't give a shit sometimes, or they just ignore half my posts anyways. I mean, like, people that I've known since high school and stuff won't comment on stuff. It's just like a dead account. Sometimes they unfollow me too, I'm sure. All my politics over the years, for sure. But I was just, woe is me, oh my god. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna release these 2 EPs and do Rock Invasion as well. I mean, people don't give a shit about Rock Invasion either. I mean, shit, we were trying to get shows. It's like nobody wants to give us a show. So it's not even me booking it. So it's like this paranoid anxiety that I have about myself, like the conspiracy of the world all hating me and stuff, like which is partly part of my anxiety stuff. Like, and that's probably why I blame all these people for not caring about my music and stuff sometimes. Even that is not even in play because I'm not asking for shows. So a little mental health stuff here in this video too. So I mean, obviously, because it is tied in with that. So, but I'm gonna be doing open mics with Pathless Land again too, because the one that I did, because otherwise I was doing this project called Filled with Lies with the aforementioned guitarist who won't talk to me anymore. So did some cool music. I liked his project. I did leads mainly. I didn't really write anything. I was going to write this one song that just kind of fell apart, and he has a kid now and shit. He doesn't care about music really, or pretends to, but yeah, anyways. But yeah, that we did open mics with that project, and it went pretty well, and then I did an open mic with Pathless Land. But I would rather be in a full band, not with pre-recorded music in the background, filling up the guitar, the left channel of the guitar, and taking that out of the song, and then just having me play it live, and then, playing leads over that or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to try to find more members. I'm going to try to get more aggressive about promoting my music and having, sometimes you just got to fucking promote it all the time. Now, I've been doing a lot of these King Diamond videos, these King Diamond Merciful Fate videos, and the reason why is because it's fucking fun. I mean, for the when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and stuff back in the day, when I was doing all the King Diamond stuff, we didn't have, YouTube wasn't a thing, really. Well, it wasn't a thing. Honestly, I'm that old. But YouTube wasn't a thing, and, you didn't have, like, a lot of as many outlets as now, for people to watch that kind of thing. So I didn't do videos, but I would sing Halloween and, like, parking ramps and do all the fucking screams that King Diamond did, and people would laugh and stuff. A lot of the friends would laugh and thought it was like, holy shit. And there was even like mock, I'm not going to give away the story because there's an idea that I had, ironically, that was kind of adapted from something. There was something that I did back in the day with King Diamond, which is another surprise. Well, it's not a surprise, but I'm not going to give away this, like I said, I'm not going to give away the store that I'm going to do. Depending on the technology involved with regards to that, it's something that it's a joke. It's a King Diamond sort of joke thing. I'm not going to say there was someone that did something similar, just a little bit of a hint years back. If someone comments on what they think it is, that they if they get it right, they will win some free discs from me. Give them 2 of my Pathless Land CDs for free. I'll mail them to them if they guess what I'm talking about. But if they watch this far, this rambling video. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. That's going to be pretty cool too. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do that and what I'm going to do exactly with that. Obviously, there's other videos that are going to come on this channel that are unrelated to that stuff. But you know, I've been getting some compliments. I've been working on this stuff for a couple weeks now, or a week, because I hadn't done it in years. So this is the whole situation. It's like I've lived in apartments. I haven't done King Diamond in years. I used to do King Diamond all the fucking time. I recorded the Jonah on a 4. This is how far it went. I had a microphone and I had a 4-track, and I recorded the Jonah, me singing to the Jonah, on a 4-track years back. This is fucking 1998. That's how long ago it was. I believe it was 98. 97, 98. 25 years ago. Yes. I recorded myself singing to Jonah. That was when I was living at home. I was still, living at home and stuff. I was a kid, basically. I recorded the Jonah and never released it, but I had a tape. I had a tape somewhere of me singing the Jonah and singing along to it on a 4-track. So yeah, I've been doing this shit for years. I never released any of it. This is the first time. The first time I ever released any of it publicly was that Welcome Home from the other day. That's the first time I ever released me doing any King Diamond stuff publicly ever in my life. In fact, some of the stuff is new to me. Like these comedy open mics. Like I have never been up. The last time I filmed it, I've never been gone that long with a comedy open mic. Some of these things are new to me. Some of these performance things. I'm gonna try to do them. Yeah, I'm an old fuck. So I'm old as fuck now. But will I do them or will I stop doing it? It's just like the music thing, like this philosophical kind of thing about this music. I'm being philosophical now, but deep, man. Deep thoughts, Jack Handy. But yeah, if you decide to go a different direction in your life, do I have a good 30 or 40 plus years left on this planet? I don't know. I don't know. But I hope I do, or I merge with the AI or whatever one day. I don't fucking know what I'm going to do. Transhumanism. Oh, 10% remaining. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. But the time is now, to do all this shit. Got a number from a girl the other day. I haven't gotten a number that wasn't from online in a long time, I'll just say. I haven't really done a lot of the work that needs to be done in my life. And I've gone over and over again in these bad negative cycles. And one of them is like, nobody gives a shit about Pathless Land. I should just quit. These thoughts. So no, I'm not quitting Pathless Land. I'm not quitting. Not going to give the name away. I do have a name now for the King Diamond thing. I don't want to give the name away until the first single. First single will drop probably in a couple months. The first, release. I do have a song that I've wrote a lot of riffs for and have vocals partly recorded already. Not partly recorded, but partly pre-demoed, I'd say. And lyrics 1/4 maybe written already. So that'll drop in a couple months. And it's not going to be the theme of the album. This is the thing about that single. It's not going to be the theme of the album. It's not going to be the theme of the album. It's not going to be in that song. I'm going more traditional horror in this song because the way the lyrics operate. Just think Return of the Vampire, Doomed by the Living Dead kind of lyric kind of stuff, I'm just going to say. More in that direct, more like traditional horror kind of direction. Not going to give away too much. Maybe I misled you by saying one of those names. I'll just say that. But I decided to write a song like that. Now, how I'm going to do this is that it's going to be tied in to the story with different lyrics. This will be an exclusive one-off lyric in this song. And then I'm going to change the lyrics and then have them tie together with the plot more, with the same song, but just re-record the vocals. It's kind of like, as silly as it sounds, and I'm like comparing myself to this, but Guns N' Roses and Unusual Illusions, had the two Don't Cries, and they had different lyrics. This is going to be called blank alt lyrics, because that's what it'll be. It'll be one off, and then it'll tie together with a story once I write this. Well, me and my friend hopefully write the story, or I write the story, depending on if he wants to do it or not. I'm going to still give him credit no matter what, because he came up with some of the concept already, and which is pretty brilliant. I'm just going to say, if we get this done, if I get even this EP done, which will have some of the story in it, and nobody else has done this, why the fuck not? Why hasn't this happened yet? This story, this type of story. And I'm not blaming people for not doing this story. There's a couple bands that, there's the band Them as well, that kind of, Them, Portrait, Attic, Ghost, and In Solitude. There's kind of the four, like, it's almost like horror punk, like, there's horror punk, they're all based on the Misfits, but they all have their own twist, right? And, you have psychobilly stuff, you have horror punk stuff, and it was all based on the Misfits. This is kind of the King Diamond version of that instead of Glenn Danzig. It's like all, like, the branches off of that. So this is kind of I don't know what the genre would be called, because there's, it's not horror metal, because there's already other horror metal bands too that don't, like, what's it called, from Italy, what the hell are they called? Death SS, that's right. There's bands like that are doing horror metal, but it's not King Diamond or Lizzie Borden, or, some of the bands that have done shock horrors kind of stuff. But the King Diamond thing's a special thing, because it's very based on Merciful Fate and King Diamond, but it's not the same. These bands that have done these albums, like Them, Portrait, I just mentioned them all. So, but this is going to be another take on that whole thing, and it has some special things. Now, am I going to if I did a second album or more releases, let's say it's a one-off, and I do a, just have that concept on the EP or whatever it turns out to be. Will I do other concepts other than this, or is it going to all be based on this concept? No, I would do other concepts, obviously. I would do more stuff. Now, putting it in this direction that I'm talking about, which people will not guess by any means, maybe they could come up with the conclusion. Somehow they would guess, or they're psychic or whatever. But people, hopefully there won't be another band doing this by the time it's done. But if there is, whatever, or having this kind of conceptual bent on this. Now, anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that. So, there are bands there are some concepts that are similar to what I'm doing. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to say there's bands, but, there's bands that have done similar concept kind of albums. But I don't think they've ever done it in this type of way before. So, but anyways, I'm very excited. I'm not quitting music. Fuck that. And please subscribe, and, just understand that I had a really bad crisis with that. So, crisis of faith in anything that I do, but that's about all.